the country.
Anyway, we are now live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spergonomics podcast, episode number 27, or Viente Siete, as they say in Spanish. And with me is, I think this is your first time, Rapier. How you doing, Mr. Rapier?
Yeah.
He's a cheesehead, which I have learned is someone from Wisconsin. How you doing?
Hey there, guys. How's it going?
It's going, eh? Oh, wait, that's Canadian. What's the
I
difference?
think
yeah,
you mean
for
northern
sure.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, for sure. I'm from Wisconsin.
Ich bin ein Wisconsinite, eh?
So what's your favourite cheese then? Do you even like cheese?
Nah, not really. I'm a
Bruh.
heretic.
Bruh.
But I
Damn,
use it
you should
to...
be strung up and maimed.
I wave the flag high to overthrow Tony Evers.
And of course, with us is Mr. Chicago Liberal. How you doing?
Doing great.
Surviving the
Making
big
fun
city.
of cheeseheads is my game. Illinois gang.
See, in Wisconsin, you're safe, but Chicago has to deal with the mean streets of Chicago, where you never know when a stray bullet might hit you.
Battlefield hardline.
Battlefield, Illinois.
Battlefield, Second City.
Call of Duty, Chicago ghetto. I don't know.
Call of Duty, African American Ops.
Call of Duty, Black Ops, Tricky Dicky.
To be black.
Yeah, because it's set in the 70s, but you're Richard Nixon and you're trying to spy on everyone.
Ooga booga, Chattis Nixon.
No, Tricky Dicky, Ooga Booga. So anyway, we've got quite a bit to talk about anyway, because stuff has been happening. So shall we start
No
with
way.
I know, right? Believe it or not, as the coronavirus seems to ebb away, people are starting to, create news again, thank God, because we've had, so little fucking stuff to talk about over the past few weeks that it's been a struggle. But luckily for us, Jim Crow Joe has provided us with the entertainment that we so sorely needed. So Chicago, take it away. Tell us what Sleepy Joe has been up to.
Apparently if you don't vote for Biden, you're not black.
You ain't black.
You ain't black. So this was on the Breakfast Club, not to be confused with a YouTube channel that I've been on. This is the I guess you would say black radio sort of, what are they, like a talk show thing? I don't know what they are.
The Breakfast Club where there is no actual breakfast.
Yeah, but there's no breakfast. So anyway, it's the guy
It's the
who
Ethiopia of breakfast clubs.
Radio Aid coming soon to Wembley Stadium. Whoops. So anyway, Joe Biden was on this radio show. Well, it was more of a, wasn't really radio, was it? It was more a Skype call. And what happened was, they got to the end of it, and then they were talking about, Charlemagne the God, who, for those of you who don't know, he had a little beef with Mr. Medica a while ago. He asked Biden, what can you do for us? Oh, I'll only vote for somebody who will help my community. And then Joe Biden's like, well, I'm paraphrasing, if you don't know who to vote for between Trump and Biden, you ain't black.
It has to be the worst Biden accent in the history of Biden accents. Maybe.
I'm not trying to do I don't know, where's he from? Maryland? I don't know. Where's he from?
Delaware.
Again? Delaware. I don't know the Delaware accent. It's
It's just Maryland. But
who's
worse.
heard of Delaware? Come on, in all seriousness.
Ghetto Maryland.
But that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to do like an Ebonics kind of thing. Like Hillary used to do it. She would make her voice sound more black to appeal to them.
Yeah.
In such a patronising way. I've got a story about
Cringe.
somebody like that, but I'll tell it later. So it's actually created a controversy, which I was actually surprised about, because I thought, wait, most leftists agree with this anyway. Like, apparently Charlemagne looks shocked, but I would have thought, well, don't you agree with that? Like, so many people I've seen have said that over the years, unless in America it's starting to change, that maybe Kanye worked his magic and, the African American community is not so collectivist as it once was. So anyway, it's actually created a controversy, which I was actually surprised about, because I thought, wait, most leftists agree with this anyway. Like, apparently Charlemagne looks shocked, but I would have thought, well, don't you agree with that? Like, so many people I've seen have said that over the years, unless in America it's starting to change, that maybe Kanye worked his magic and, the African American community is not so collectivist as it was.
About them time.
So, I'm surprised he's managed to say this, and to be fair, he's gotten away with it.
But of course he has.
But I think it will all add up, though. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, African Americans, they've already voted for Trump by, I think it was an increased margin of 8% in 2016. So this will probably just be a small factor into a larger picture of an increased trend where minorities are voting for Republicans, specifically Trump, instead, just because he's an absolute moron who has no real plans for them.
Yeah, literally.
Well, to me, go on, Chicago, sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, like, why would you vote for someone who doesn't have a plan other than Orange Man is evil and should be hung?
I mean, I think he accidentally showed what they think about him. Oh, we've just got a super chat from Mr. Brandon Nelson, $10. Oh, thank you. Hail the cheese. Is he another Wisconsin native?
Yeah, that's Chettis, Wisconsin naughty.
Oh yeah. Is that the secret cabal that's trying to turn the whole of the northern United States into like Canada? I don't know.
Right now, our short-term goal is just to get rid of Tony Evers, but we may go on to bigger things eventually.
You will all feel the wrath of the snow.
Precisely.
I think but Joe Biden accidentally showed the racism of the Democratic Party. I mean, yeah, they show it on a daily basis, but they're very good at pretending to really care for the black community and, well, I think minorities in general. And I think when he says you ain't black if you don't vote for us, essentially, is what he inferred. That just shows really that he's entitled to their vote. That's what he thinks, and he just expects them to because, well, they're African Americans. That's just what they do. LBJ basically has got these people on the they call it the Democratic plantation, haven't they, for the next 200 years. Pick the cotton, innit? That's what it felt like to me. It was like something a slaver would say.
Yeah.
And knowing Biden's history, it's not beyond the pale for him to say such things. Doesn't he have like a history with the Southern Dixiecrats? Wasn't he like a supporter of them, even though he's from the North? What was it, Wallace? George Wallace was he called? Chicago?
Yeah, George Wallace.
Yeah, he was a supporter of him in the 60s and 70s, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was either him or someone else. He said they were great friends, and he actually. Yeah, I actually think because I think Joe Biden, he's actually made comments similar to this in the past, or like he had a friendship with a really big segregationist, and it got a bunch of media attention, just like this, but it blew over in 2 days, and that's what's probably going to happen here. But this is again just going to compound on that and probably result in bigger African American drift from the Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. They're already voting for him by like 25%, and if you get that rate over 30%, the Democrats have just lost the black vote. They're never going to be able to win with that minority group again.
I hear a lot of dead air. What's going on? I hear a lot of dead air. What's going on? I heard a lot of dead air.
Just a bunch of ooga booga Biden bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to double check something because there was a parcel, but it wasn't mine. So
it's a bomb.
It wasn't a bomb. So anyway, do you think this will impact Biden's campaign in November, or is he gonna get away with it?
I mean, initially, it's probably just gonna sputter out. The media is gonna downplay it. This always happens when stuff like this comes out, but in the long run, the black community is gonna remember it. And coupled with Biden's past, yeah, it's significantly going to hurt his chances with the black community in November.
You sure, though? Because I think a lot of them probably agree with him.
Yeah, they definitely agree that sentiment is there, but now that it's out there and being recognized, because the black culture right now, it's really oriented around the fact that the government's been subsidizing them for their entire history. Now that Biden's just frankly come out and said, well, you're not part of that group if you don't vote for us, then I think they might just stand up and leave at that point.
I hope so. But
yeah,
dependency is a very hard thing to shake. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that's been going on in America, I mean, it's increasingly happening over here, but especially in America, I feel like LBJ with the Civil Rights Act was really crafty in what he did. So he basically trapped them in a welfare state, and basically because I think he recognised something that I've recognised. I don't know if you recognise this, but it's not necessarily Black Americans' fault though, because it was a defence mechanism, if anything. So if you recall, right?
Yeah.
Lincoln emancipated them after the Civil War, and then for the next 100 years, pretty much, they voted Republican, didn't they? Until 1964, right? I don't think they voted for Kennedy. I might be wrong on that, but why did they vote for the Republicans as a group? Because, well, they emancipated them. It was like a collective thing that they did, and then they voted for LBJ and then the Democrats because civil rights, again, the kind of saviour thing, and as a group, I guess, because they were still, back then, even though there was no slavery, there was still, things that were unequal. So, a lot of them couldn't vote in the South. There were things going on institutionally that needed fixed. So I guess that the Democrats took advantage of the collective thing that they would have done and just stole votes for nearly 50 years. But what they did was worse than the Republicans, because the Republicans didn't trap them into any particular welfare state or anything like that. Although I don't think they did enough in the South to help them. I think that's probably something that they messed up on. It ended up being, charities like the NRA that were doing more for them, which a lot of people don't remember. It was them that was fighting for their gun rights in the South, where the Democrats were trying to take them away. And since then, they've been voting for more and more Democratic handouts because, well, free stuff, isn't it? It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
But I think maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think with Trump, maybe the conditioning is breaking. Maybe because it's been 50 years of civil rights, they've got used to freedom. I mean, obviously there's a different thing now with the SJWs and victimhood and things like that. But by and large, I think a lot of African Americans I've come across online are pretty chill and not like the far leftists. And so, how do I explain it? They don't act as much as a collective as they used to. You still see it occasionally, but when it comes to voting, it seems to be breaking. They seem to be becoming more like, it seems to be more of an individual thing now. Although it's more black males than it is black females, interestingly, because last I checked, 98% of black females voted Democrat, but black men not so much. I think it's much less than that, but I don't know.
Based in red pill.
I mean, that's a lot of things. That's probably to do with stuff in the culture that's going on and things like that. Because black men are falling behind black women, and well, men in general all over the West are falling behind, and maybe that's why. I don't know. Do you guys have anything to say? Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Good question. I've never really looked into this because, honestly, I've just never cared.
But I think if Republicans want more black votes, they should try and cultivate that individuality and promote people like Kanye and things like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm not a Republican, so I still see it as them not voting for me anyway.
True, I know what you mean. So what else happened in the news, guys? Because I think we've probably exhausted that one.
Jim Crow Joe back at it again. That's a wrap.
Dab.
There was something going on with in Britain with Cummings, the Bojo's right-hand man, he's been under fire for breaking lockdown rules. At least people are saying he did, but other people are saying that he didn't. I don't know what to think. I mean, I can see both sides, but because I don't really know exactly what happened.
Was he the guy? Didn't he like drive to visit his parents or something?
No, that was another guy. That was the housing minister. What happened was, I think he had, if I remember correctly, Cummings had his wife in the back, and she's ill with coronavirus, and he travelled up the country to take her somewhere. And it's a bit of a grey area, because on the one hand he's helping somebody who is technically vulnerable because she has the virus, and you're allowed to help your family. But on the other hand, why is he going all the way up the country? You know? Why didn't he just drop her off wherever they were locally? Unless he was out of his house, he was somewhere else on business, I don't know. But I don't know, I can see both sides of the argument. I can see why people would defend him and why people would not. But the reason why I kind of err on the he shouldn't have done that was because there was a guy in Manchester that I mentioned in the video who he was visiting his parents who were vulnerable. They're like elderly, and he was giving them supplies and medicine and things like that, as you would expect. But he also took a tree from them because, I don't know, they bought him a tree or they didn't want the tree, so he thought, you know what, I'll take the tree. I mean, that's fair enough, you know. Only he got stopped by the police and was threatened with arrest. He wasn't actually arrested, but he was threatened, and it was filmed, and then this woman came out to say, hey, look, we know these people, that's his parents, we know this guy. And he's like, hey, and the police officer said, if you say anything else, I'll arrest you too. I think he even pulled his taser out on him, I think. He didn't tase him, but it was like threatening him, yeah. Because the British police have been going drunk on power because the guidelines and the rules are too vague, so they've just been interpreting them to the...
You need militias.
Yeah, to the worst extent.
Redcoats back at it again.
Back at it again. Well, actually, the British police are blue coats.
Ironic.
Well, the Navy wear blue. Traditionally. So do the cavalry. Yeah. Well, some of the cavalry anyway. But, I don't know, like, would you say that's breaking quarantine or not?
Well, considering, like, wait, so he was just driving around with his wife?
Well, he was taking her somewhere, yeah, while she was ill.
Oh.
I think.
Well, I mean, I think that's called being a husband.
Yeah, like, you're not gonna spread the virus from inside the car.
No.
And because humans are intelligent beings, she's obviously not going to get out, so...
Oh, I've been near Chicago for too long to think that, Rapier.
Well, Chicago's a singularity alongside other Democrat runs.
Isn't it a purple
Damn.
state? Illinois.
No, it is not.
Oh, is it?
No.
Oh, that's Ohio, isn't it?
Ohio's actually pretty deep red.
Oh. So which one's the purple state around that area?
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin is the purple state.
Wisconsin/Michigan.
I don't know.
Michigan is only a purple state as of 2016, though.
I would have thought it was blue.
It was blue until 2016.
Wow. Although a lot
because
of
of
cities,
Detroit.
Detroit voted Republican.
No, Detroit voted Democrat.
Oh yeah, well, again, people voted
Detroit
against
and Lansing were why it was blue.
This is what I don't get. For 50 years, that party's been sucking that city dry, yet they still vote for them, and everybody's left.
I blame public schools, honestly.
Like, it's the same over here. You know, communities have been let down consistently by the same political parties, but they still vote for them. The same people over and over again, and
it's
nothing changes.
The same problem with the black community. They just want more subsidies, even though they're not working.
But I think because they've noticed that more people have jobs in their community, or their demographic, shall we really say, because there's loads of different kinds of black communities. There's not like one. You know, I mean, Haitians are not the same as, you know, as, I guess, traditional African. Oh, that's a stupid word. Normal Black Americans. They're not the same, and Latinos are not the same. Well, I guess it depends where you are, but I think they're noticing that there's more jobs being created because of these policies. Maybe that's what's influencing them to vote in higher numbers. I don't know.
They're not even making jobs. Let's be honest.
Well, Trump's managed to get them more into work, though. Has he not?
Yeah, well, I don't say that a president can ever make jobs.
We know what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
His policies have created the conditions where they can get more jobs, is what I'm trying to say.
Somewhat, but it's more the lack of what his policies do.
Mm-hmm. Also, there was a poll, wasn't there, that said that he's going to lose to Biden in a landslide, which I don't believe.
Polls always say that.
But this one was like 98%. I don't think that's ever happened ever, has it? Nobody's ever lost by 98%. Although Reagan got pretty close, didn't he?
Yeah, Mondale might have lost by a similar margin.
Oh God!
I think the only reason is that the poll said was that it was to do with Corona, but everybody knows that in regards to the pandemic, it's not his fault.
Everyone knows that by November, Corona's not going to be an issue in the U.S. It's only going to be an issue in Britain, and it's because your politicians, I'm sorry, are grossly incompetent.
Oh, they are, but I actually don't think it's going to be much of a problem. Even then, they'll just keep us in lockdown because, again, they're grossly incompetent. So even when
because
that's why I'm saying COVID will be a problem.
We're abolishing death, everyone. We're killing all risk. Everyone is in lockdown until nobody dies.
We don't have the leftist party in power, technically.
Well, you have the other leftist party in power.
Yeah.
You don't have a right-wing party. Just like how we don't have a left-wing party yet. AOC's trying, but yeah, it's not bad.
She's gonna lose her seat.
I think she will, yeah. But only to another Democrat.
I think she's only going to form a progressive party in like 2024.
And split the Democratic.
And then be irrelevant.
Thing is, right, she's been trying to get cozy with the Democratic establishment, hasn't she? And,
yeah, but Pelosi hates her guts.
I don't blame Pelosi at all, because she's completely crazy. She's worse than fucking Sanders ever was. Although I would be more worried about Tlaib and the other one, Omar, than AOC. Because of who they also represent.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it in Michigan, in Omar's constituency, who she represents. Shit's going down there.
Omar's from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be very surprised if Omar is ever reelected.
You reckon?
Yeah. With all the shit that she's done? Like, she's been a magnet for scandals even more than Obama was. And Obama
legitimate
had
anti-Semite. Like an unironic anti-Semite.
Oh, and she also married her brother.
There's also that.
That's the funniest thing. That I thought, what? She married a brother?
Yeah, she's not.
Just so you know,
she's not a representative from either Missouri or Alabama, which is shocking.
No, it's Michigan. I mean, Minnesota.
Which, by the way, the second thing is actually technically grounds for her to be deported.
Oh yeah, true, yeah, because it's a crime.
Because she wasn't born in the U.S., so we can just deport her.
Yeah.
Is that because she committed what is technically a crime in Somalia, right? She's Somalian originally?
No,
I think
it's because she committed a crime according to U.S. law. You cannot marry your sibling.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she ever will, though, just because, well, she's a politician, and they seem to be above the law in many cases. But
yeah, wait for her to not be reelected, and then would actually become a possibility.
Personally, I thought the moment AOC was likely to lose a seat was when Amazon were trying to build a facility.
And she single-handedly killed 13,000 jobs.
Yeah. There's no way people don't see that and go, hang on, I could have got a job. and she ruined my chances of getting a job.
Yeah.
I could have been one of those 13,000.
Well, and also keep in mind that her representative district is not going to be existing in 2020.
Really?
So she has to find a new district to run in. Yeah.
So, or is this like...
And all of New York City hates her now.
So what happens? So what's happening? Is it like a boundary change in New York that's happening, basically?
With
they're
census.
they're redistricting in New York State.
What, the whole
they were
state?
already going to do that without the census. Yeah, because when you redistrict, you have to do it with the whole state.
I think we'll be doing that actually in 2021. Sorry, yeah, we'll be doing that soon. But we don't have gerrymandering here though, because of the way we do it, which is good for us.
I mean, for us, we do gerrymandering. But oh well.
Sometimes it's useful.
Yeah.
That's
just putting all the Democrats in their own things, and then the Republicans
and I think also,
actually have a representative.
I think also the fact that she's a bit of a backstabber, because she backstabbed Bernie, didn't she? Whether or not she was always supportive of him, I don't know. But when she started endorsing him and was, you know, she was meant to be going to all these events with him, but she never turned up. That also doesn't reflect well on you, because you're meant to be. I mean, you don't have to like your fellow members of the party, but it's more like it reflects her as a person. It shows that she doesn't actually care about people. She only cares about herself, and people can see that. They can smell a snake, and that's what she is. And that's why people were saying she betrayed the... Well, she didn't betray any... She didn't betray...
A snake with the face of a donkey.
Yeehaw.
She literally looks like one too, though. The perfect Democrat looks like a donkey.
Yeah.
But in the Republicans, though, who looks like an elephant the most? Chris Christie? I don't know.
I'd say Mitch McConnell, but he looks more like a turtle.
I mean, J.B. Pritzker looks like a character straight out of the Flintstones.
Yeah, he does look more like a turtle.
We elected Fred's goddamn Flintstone to be our state.
Chungus Pritzker.
I yabba dabba do not like his government policies.
So will they vote for another Democrat? So what happens if AOC loses a seat? Will they vote for Republicans or an independent or?
They're going to vote for a Democrat. Let's be honest, but it's going to be a neoliberal Democrat.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just more of the same, basically.
Yeah, but at least you can work with neoliberals.
True. I'll grant them that.
Yeah, so I'd rather have that.
I'm just interested what's going to happen in 2020 after Trump. I'm still interested in that. Like, if he wins, what's going to happen? Who's going to replace him? Because I've been asking people all over the place, like, who do you think is going to replace Trump? Some people think Pence would be a good replacement. I don't think so. I think that's the wrong choice. He's a good VP.
Yeah, he's a good speaker, but he has nothing near the charisma or pomp of Trump. He looks like a Q-tip. That doesn't help him either.
Q-tip? What, like a silver-tipped one?
Yeah. Like, I love the guy's space policy, but he wouldn't be able to win a presidential election, I don't think.
I feel he's too close.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Mike Pence.
The electric fence.
Oh, yeah, Mike Pence. Good old AC/DC for the LGBT.
I don't think he actually believes in that anymore, though. I don't think he actually believes in that anymore, right?
No, I think he does. It's just that he's, professional enough to not bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely matured. Because I remember when he was like in Bush's, either it was Bush's cabinet or early Obama, and he was saying those things. I'm like, shit. But I just think, because he's an evangelical, I feel like he's too linked to the old party, if you know what I mean. I think it would be a step back for him, and it would be, I think, considering what Trump has done, I think continuity is the best policy. But I don't know which person in the Republican Party would be a good candidate for that. But I think Rand Paul, just because he's more similar in terms of at least economics. I don't know about socially.
Yeah.
He's got to
Paul
survive.
Yeah.
Rand Paul is more of a paleocon, but you know what? I can go and support a paleocon in some things.
Yeah.
I always thought he was just a libertarian.
They're better overall.
I thought Rand Paul was
The
literally
libertarian.
Yeah, like
No, that's Ron Paul instead of Rand Paul.
I mean, Rand isn't totally different from his dad. But I don't know. I mean, he would be a good replacement.
He's a lot more conservative than his dad,
which is unusual. It's the other way around.
Which socially, that would be a slight issue for me because, well, I'm more of a live and let live type of person. But at least economically, he's going to really relax the power of government.
I don't think he would shake up social...
small steps.
I don't know if he would shake up the social fabric of America too much. Not even Trump did.
Oh yeah, you can't fabric because of our checks and balances.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't really appreciate his rhetoric on it.
Oh right, yeah, fair enough. What was I going to say? Who else is there? Crenshaw.
No, God, no.
Chadis One Eye.
Yar har fiddle-dee-dee boys.
Yar, I was in Afghanistan.
No, I do not like the cringe pirate man.
Red flag pirate man.
I just like the idea of him. I like the image of him.
Dan Crenshaw.
He'll run in 2024.
Yeah, he will. But I'm just going to be making fun of him on Twitter until he actually responds.
Explain to this ignorant British person, this redcoat, why he's so cringe and why he's so bad and why he would be a bad president.
Because he wants to go and heavily expand our anti-gun laws.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah, that's why he's Dan Crenshaw.
I would have thought he would be like all for that, like gun ownership.
No, he's from Texas. They're blue-pilled on that.
Texas are blue-pilled on guns.
Cruz isn't though.
But that's the state with the most guns per capita.
Cruz wasn't even from Texas. No, it is actually not.
Really? Who's got the more guns?
Wyoming and Montana.
I thought Texas was known for having loads of them.
Is that per capita or?
That's per capita, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Texas
because there's no one there, and everyone there is armed as hell.
I thought Texans were usually loaded, like packing heat.
It's just because someone uploaded a video of a Texan driving a tank around that everyone thinks the entire state is filled with.
It's not hard to get a tank,
Everyone basically thinks that Texas is filled with casinos, dingy hotels, and gun ranges.
Yeah. God, I've had my image of Texas. Oh, there's an echo there. Chicago, it's you.
It's me, of course, yeah.
Come on, man.
Bruh. But though, anyway, I can't believe it. My image of Texas has been destroyed. They're blue-pilled. California's already worked the magic.
Apologies.
Blame the illegals.
But this is the thing, like, we can get into that. A lot of people are moving from California to places like what's the other state next to them where it's all rocky and stuff.
State next to California.
Colorado found it.
Oh yes, yeah. Colorado.
People are moving from there to Colorado. They're moving to Texas, Arizona. Where else are they moving?
Arizona,
New Mexico, Nevada. Strangely enough, you don't hear them moving to Washington State or Oregon, where you would think they'd be more at home. But they've been moving to these other places, and slowly but surely, this is what Razorfist has been complaining about in Arizona. He's from.
Yeah.
They're turning the states
he's Arizona.
They're turning the states blue. So they're moving away from a blue state, which they don't like living in because of this and that, right? They don't like the taxes, or they don't like this rule or that rule. So they're going to move to another place, then enact the same laws, and then create another California, and then leave.
They're like locusts.
It is. It's a blue wave of locusts. Like, I understand why they're leaving. Like, for example, James Hetfield from Metallica. He's another. I don't know who he votes for. I don't think he's a Democrat, but whatever. He's a Californian who moved to Colorado because he didn't feel welcome there. Have you seen the Joe Rogan episode that he was on when they talk about bees? He says that he goes hunting. So he goes hunting, right? But what he does is he gets a deer and he puts it on the front of his truck. You still there, guys?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, just checking. I didn't know if I'd gone out for a sec then. So, he goes hunting, he puts the deer on the front of his truck and people give him weird looks. And he said, well, my idea of eating organically is different to theirs. So he's pretty based.
Chad.
But he has his own beehives too, so he's pretty wholesome.
Mm.
But that's the thing, isn't it? They're now making it difficult for people who want to live their own life, like he does. And so there's those people who are leaving. Whether or not they'll vote for California for Democrats, I don't know. But that's kind of worrying. I'd never known that you could emigrate, because it's not immigrate, it's emigrate, innit? You go from one city to another. I didn't think that could happen. That could change the whole political nature of a place.
Yeah, well, if enough people do.
Yeah, that's kind of probably. I think it's probably worse than importing.
Probably, honestly, because it probably actually amounts to about the same, because when the illegal immigrants come in, they're told Republican racist, we the Democrats will help you, so they automatically vote Democrat. And then
some of
the blue voters coming from California.
To be fair, the Cubans didn't know, but
oh yeah,
they were escaping.
There are fractions. But
that's because the Cubans are based as hell.
True. At Ted Cruz. But I'm talking about the the illegals coming from Mexico right now, primarily.
Well,
they're all voting blue illegally.
Yeah, they're being encouraged to, as well. But what else was I going to say? There's something in my head then. Oh, what was it? I hate it when I lose track of thought. Live on stream. What is it? Oh, it's linked to all this stuff. Moving to another place. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. Nah, I've lost it. It's gone. It's completely gone. Rip. Rip that thought. It'll come back.
Yeah.
So do you reckon that at some point that I've got it. So there's a book, right?
Yay.
There's a book that I've got that I couldn't read because I just finished a really good companion book to it, even though it was written by a different author. You know, The Strange Death of Europe by Douglas Murray.
Heard of it, never read it.
I read it and it made me
quite strange indeed.
But anyway, it made me really, really sad and depressed and black-pilled. So I thought, well, let's read this other one. I couldn't get through it because I'd still been affected by that book. But this is called, it's here somewhere, hang on. I've moved it somewhere. But it's called Anywheres and Somewheres, is it? Anywheres, Somewhere. Yeah, Anywheres.
Oh, well, you...
It's Anywheres versus The Road to Somewhere, by David Goodhart. And he describes the two different groups in Britain. And it's the Anywheres, who are, your middle-class types who move down to London, or they jet set all around the world. They have their jobs are very, global and cosmopolitan. Then you've got the Somewheres, who are very local, grounded, more conservative, working class people, who they're tied to their towns and cities basically. So I'm a somewhere, basically. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be conservative or even right wing or whatever to be a somewhere technically, and some Anywheres can be working class people, but usually there is a general pattern. And I've noticed that same trend with with the Californians moving out. They're the Anywheres moving to a somewhere area and changing it. And because they're somewheres, they don't tend to move. That's what's causing the issues in Arizona and places like that.
Yeah.
But then what will happen though? Because eventually they'll just keep moving to loads of different states. So would things just Chicago
muted again?
Yeah.
Rip.
But I guess eventually they'll have nowhere else to go than Canada, right?
Well, I mean, right now the migration, I guess, it's being primarily driven not just by taxes but by the coronavirus. So I feel like there might not be like a second wave of migration, I guess you could say, after that. Because you're definitely seeing people leaving California, leaving New York, and they're saying it's because of taxes and other stuff, but it's really just because they can't tolerate the lockdowns. So they're going to states that either have less stringent lockdown policy or whose lockdown policies are.
Isn't it interesting that California was rarely touched by it, yet their lockdown is one amongst the most draconian.
Exactly.
Newsom. That's what happens when you have liberals in charge.
Gavin Newsom. What a putz.
Imagine being named Gavin.
So
the only people I actually know named Gavin all transitioned from being girls.
The people I know who are Gavin are Welsh.
The only two Gavins in politics, Gavin Newsom and Gavin McInnes, are both cringe.
Wait, is that the that's the guy who was in Rebel Media, wasn't
that's
it? Yeah,
the Proud Boy.
Yeah, he's pretty cringe. Not that I disagree with some of his opinions, but like, he is cringe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting point. But why? There was no reason for it, and in fact, I've heard a rumor that they reckon California already had it, but it didn't affect many people. Most people didn't know they had it, and life wasn't really affected.
Like, there are people saying it was probably as far in as middle America by November or December, because, and I actually might have encountered this because I was competing in debate tournaments across the Midwest, and everyone kept getting this flu or this sickness. They were all coughing up a storm, and after a few weeks, everyone was no longer sick. So there's honestly the potential that I got the coronavirus and am now immune because I attended those tournaments.
I think I had it.
Yeah, it's a good thing that people model you in are slobs then.
I actually, when the news hit, like, it was going out, right, that there was an epidemic, I remember, like, before lockdown, I felt something. I felt weird and ill, but I wasn't coughing. I felt like I had a cold. But I was getting a bit dry in my throat. But then after a couple of days, it was gone. So I don't. And I remember I was next to a co-worker who was ill, and she looked pretty terrible, but it looked more like a cold. But I don't know if she was coughing or not. She did a few times, and I felt a bit weird afterwards. but then everybody else who's been in the room with her, they've been fine. So I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Again, who knows? We all could have had it.
Yeah, that's all to say. Pretty much the entire country could have antibodies or be immune by now.
Yeah, except for New York State, because they're all pussies.
Cuomo is a moron. Imagine putting coronavirus patients in nursing homes.
Mate, that was state enforced over here.
And then blaming Trump for it.
See, in this country...
I mean, you see, this is why I tend to not vote for Italians.
And not only...
Boo-hoo, Fredo.
Boo, Fredo, I don't care.
You know what's funny? That's a chocolate bar in this country, Freddo.
Fredo? Oh,
Freddo.
In this country, it is a... It's basically referencing The Godfather, because Fredo is the dumber, less accomplished younger brother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so that's why Chris Cuomo hates being called Fredo. Because he managed to be dumber and less well accomplished than his brother.
Who's his brother
again? Which is shocking.
The governor of New York is his brother.
Oh, which Cuomo is that? Andrew, is it?
Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah. I didn't know. Honestly, I thought it was the same person.
Mambazo Mandenanzo.
Yes, the governor of New York moonlights as a CNN primetime.
So why is something that I don't get. Why is de Blasio targeting Jews specifically, though? And Christians as well, but why particularly the Jews? I don't... Why?
Because they were out protesting or
Oh.
doing an event that was in direct violation of the city policies.
Yeah,
So then he did that.
They were doing their cultural
Yeah.
practices.
And also
'Cause it
doing their
was-
civic right to protest.
Yeah, it was both the Jews and the black community. Because the police went and arrested a bunch of black people in New York, and people started calling the entire city racist. So de Blasio told his police force to go basically arrest as many white people as possible. Because equality.
And he even said...
Instead of, actually putting down arrests, which... Quite a few of those arrests I wouldn't even agree with anyway. No, he's just arresting even more people who are innocent. Democrats.
Not only that,
SMH live hard.
he had another tweet, literally, I don't know if it was before or after, but he was saying, like, Happy Ramadan and stuff, and things like that. He's like, I mean, if the Jews can't do their own ceremonies, or Christians can't, why is Islam all allowed to? It doesn't make sense.
Because it's a religion of peace, obviously.
Like, he's just shooting himself in the foot. He's going to lose so many votes because of this, I think. Or they'll just leave. I don't know.
Especially the Catholic community in New York, they're all leftists.
New York, if you are rich, they don't let you without you paying like $500,000. Fuck New York.
Yeah, I've never understood. Recently, I've never understood the love of that city. Like, why is it? Maybe at one time.
Who the hell would want to live there?
It's the same with
This
London.
is why you don't want to live in a city. Period.
It's the same with. Well, I understand why people move to London, but again, like, why? If you stay here, you can create your own business, potentially. And get a job here.
Well, I want to move to like small town Wisconsin because then I'm left alone and the cops are actually trustworthy.
Exactly. Except at least in my town, basically all their squad cars are painted black and shadow cars. They just sit along the side of the road.
Which is definitely not a small town.
So
say again.
Aren't you also in Madison, which is not a small town at all?
I'm a bit outside Madison. I just associate myself with that region so people know where.
Imagine
Fair
living
enough.
in a place
I'm an
called
hour
Madison.
out of Chicago, so.
Is there any towns called Karen in Wisconsin?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm gonna look this up now.
There's a town called Dick Shooter in North Dakota.
Based and red-pilled.
I'll live in Dick Shooter.
There, so then my mailing address says Dick Shooter on it.
I live in a place called Dick Shooter, named after my grandpappy. Dick Shooter the first. He shot the young gunslingers in there. Actually, was it a southern state? I don't know.
It's always the southern state.
Borders Canada, Mitch.
Oh, yeah.
It is not at all
I didn't
South.
hear you properly, so I guess it's Dick Shooter, Oh yeah,
Jesus, this is cringe.
It is cringe. It's tricky dicky time, baby.
Ooga booga, Chattis Nixon.
I will not take a barrier on this, guys.
Everyone post Barrier in the chat.
No, I don't have that emoji on YouTube though.
You should put it on YouTube.
Yes.
I don't think I can. Well, I can if I get like memberships, but I don't know what to do with memberships at the moment because I can do it now, but I don't know.
Fair enough.
Is there anything else in America that happened? That you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, they're opening up my state.
Hey.
Based.
Yeah.
Haircut time and car repair time.
Oh god. I had this weird thought though that because all the BBC and the mainstream media, at least TV wise, has moved up to Salford, which is in Manchester, right? I was wondering, they've changed the area quite a bit, but they don't really contribute to the community. Like the people who live there for hundreds of years, for generations.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get a benefit from these people moving in, and
They're just spreading pollution.
well, they're just being middle class. What they do is they buy cheap houses in Salford, or just like outside of Salford in Manchester somewhere, right? And then they just commute to Media City. Like they don't really, they probably don't even go to the local businesses because they probably think it's beneath them. They just go below. They go to like the city centre, or maybe they'll go out to like some of the more richer areas and buy stuff there, I reckon. So local businesses won't be doing well with these people, and they don't really integrate, which is weird because you'd think they would, but they don't, because they're middle class. And that's probably what's happening with the Californians moving into Texas and places like that. They're only going to be there for to live in Austin or Houston or whatever, but they're not gonna like become Texans or anything. They're just going to be Californians.
No, they're just going to be Californians and all, but
I mean, Austin's the same. There's nothing Texas about them.
The worst part of this is there's probably going to be an increase of Cowboys fans.
Oh, great. We don't need more of those.
What are they?
I'd rather deal with Packers fans, and I root for the Bears.
Oh, is this American football, is it?
Yes.
Who are the Cowboys?
The good football.
No, the bad football. That's like a terrible rugby.
X-2 Brit bomb.
Yeah, but at least when we play rugby, we don't have helmets. We just take it like men.
You see, we tried without helmets for American football, and people actually died on the field.
I don't know, rugby's probably more violent, and people are still alive. I would say rugby players are bigger. I don't know.
We had to tone down American football heavily, so then people would stop getting concussions and killing themselves.
Ice hockey's probably more violent.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I went to a fight the other day, then an ice hockey game broke out.
There's like weird rules about that as well. They don't punch below the face, which doesn't make sense, but they take the helmets off. I don't get their fighting rules. But apparently they're trying to get rid of it, but it's like, that's the only reason why I watch ice hockey sometimes. I want to see a fight. So what are the Cowboys then? Are they the Californian team? I don't know.
No, they're from Dallas.
Oh, Dallas Cowboys, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they shit? Are they good? Or
The former.
and the fans must be worse then, right?
Yeah, like Legatus.
Cowboys.
Oh god. Yeah, fucking Joseph.
Joseph.
Yeah. You know, hey, it's Joe, the guy who we had on once and he never talked.
Oh, is he a Dallas Cowboys fan?
Yeah, he's the one who posted cringe in general.
Oh, that Joe, Italian Joe.
Yeah.
I'm totally from Northern Italy, guys. It's not. Oh no, it's Southern Italy. No, it's definitely Northern. Central Italy. Should we dunk on Alcazar until we until we end?
Sure. Why not?
So tell the world how cringe Alcazar's been recently.
He thinks that Joe Biden's electable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Biden. So does half the Democrat Party.
Yeah, well, part of the Democrat Party that's gonna be dead in like 10 years of old age.
He's gonna pull a William Henry Harrison.
Just die. Does a speech and dies.
He also has a job. He has a job.
It's also going to be 5 hours long. It's mainly going to be yeah.
You know the thing.
You know the thing.
Falls over and has a heart attack.
Falls over and just dies.
Like, well, the Chief Justice is swearing him in.
Anyway, in all seriousness, we miss you, Alcazar. Get home from work, damn it. Why do you have to have a job?
Yeah.
But explain anyone explain the Michael Flynn thing before we go?
Oh, you mean the guy who did absolutely nothing wrong?
Yeah,
I tend not to follow American politics much because everybody covers it, you see. So I try to do more British stuff, really. But on here,
basically,
I do, obviously, but you have to explain stuff.
The FBI tried to trick him into exposing other members of the Trump campaign, and they shot him down for a process crime.
So what did it have to do with Obama? Sorry, my ear's hurting, guys.
Basically, that Obama and Biden were aware of the investigation, and Biden himself was one of the people who requested, I think it was called, he requested the unmasking of Flynn, basically revealing who he was in certain documents and photos.
So what were they trying to get on the Trump party then? Like
anything really, just trying to shoot the guy down. It's a whole silent coup, basically. That, the Russia probe, like this was the prelude to the Mueller investigation.
So really, the people who are anti-democratic, the ones who probably
the Comeys, the Brennans, the Clappers,
because you know so really the Russian thing was just projection to hide their own tracks, because they were the ones trying to prevent the will of the people.
And then they brought Robert Swan Mueller III in, and he spent 3 years spending taxpayer money doing absolutely nothing.
Figure out that nothing happened.
Then he published a 440-page nothing burger, and the Democrats still claim that not only that Trump colluded with the Russians, but that he obstructed the investigation.
Which he never did.
Yeah.
Don't they still try to claim that he was impeached? But the whole point of being impeached is that you're removed from office, right? Like you're guilty, right? That's what impeachment is.
Pelosi be like, history will remember he was impeached when nothing happened.
He wasn't even officially impeached.
Yeah.
They just tried to bring him to, I guess you could say, trial or into investigation. That's what they managed to get, and then
doesn't it take the Senate to actually put the articles of impeachment,
into force?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
But you know what the most horrible thing about all this is? That the people who organised this essentially a coup are going to get away with it.
It is a coup, yeah, and they are, because the Republicans are all wusses. Like props to Bill Barr, he's doing a pretty good job, but neither he nor Lindsey Grahamnesty, as I like to call him, they're not going to do anything.
I think Styx Axenhammer was talking about it, and he said, look, even though we had this, what was the chant about Hillary?
Lock her up.
Lock her up. Like, he never, to be fair to Trump, he never said he was going to lock her up.
Yeah.
Really. And he knows that he can't do
Though
that.
people took it seriously, and that's actually where the Russia investigation started, because Trump told a joke about maybe Russia can find where Hillary's 30,000 emails are. And so the media jumped on that, and the Democratic Party took it, air quotes, serious. And everything kicked off from there.
But what Styx said was it's almost political suicide to actually go after them. And it could even affect voters. Like, you could actually lose voters from doing that, interestingly enough. More independents and people who could potentially switch from the Democrats. I think that's what he said in some of his videos that I watched today. Which is a shame, because it's corruption. Oh, Chicago.
Am I echoing again?
Yeah, sorry.
God damn it.
I don't know why, it's always me, innit? I don't know if it's my microphone or whatever, but you're not echoing, are you? But
yeah, I have great setup.
I don't know what it is. I'll have to figure it out. What's between me and Chicago?
Yeah.
Is Discord trying to suggest something? But
we are one and the same, brother. We have been had.
We've got a connection in the Force. That's what it is.
A dyad.
A dyad.
The liberal dyad.
Oof. Cringe. Tricky dicky. Anyway, I think we're pretty much approaching the end now. Yes, we're now at the end. So, last words. Do you have any last words you would like to say to the people, Mr. Rapier?
Recall Tony Evers. Get rid of him.
Chicago. Preach to the people.
Booga booga, Fred Flintstone bad.
Eat Freddos, but don't vote for Freddo. There you go, guys. Import
Subway's
Freddos.
new slogan. Eat Fredo.
They're only 49. Wait, are they 49p now? Yeah, 49p. They used to be 20 odd p. Anyway, see you later, guys.
Eat Freddo, don't eat
Cheers.
Alfredo.